to make chocolate milk for our family, then we will add ingredients like milk, sugar, and chocolate in a proportionate amount, right? Now, what if we have guests at home? We will simply have to double or triple the amount of individual ingredients. Simple, isn't it? It means that for a particular recipe, the proportion of inputs will almost always remain the same. Why are we discussing this along with the concept of atoms? That's because it will help us understand a few important laws related to atoms. The introduction to the concept of atoms was a major breakthrough in the field of chemistry. However, proving the existence of atoms needed many experimental evidences. The hypothesis that matter is formed out of atoms needed experimental evidences. Soon a French chemist called Antoine Lavoisier carried out several experiments to finalize some strong and valid concepts. After remarkable observations and ideologies, we could get the two major laws of chemical combinations. The two laws are law of conservation of mass and law of constant proportions. Let us understand each law in detail. Let's take a simple example. Just imagine we carry out an experiment in which element A and element B react together to give us a compound C. If we keenly observe, we find that atoms of elements A and B do not exist individually in the reaction mixture. They come together to give us the new compound C. Although it seems that atoms of elements A and B are degenerating, it's not the case. In reality, they are combining to give us the compound C. Antoine Lavoisier put forth the law of conservation of mass, and do you know what it tells us? It states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. He explained this law by saying that matter is formed from the pre-existing matter, and the mass of the newly formed matter will be the same as that of the pre-existing matter. We can neither create new matter nor destroy the existing matter. So the chocolate milk that we made in the beginning came from the milk, sugar, and chocolate mixed together. Similarly, we could see that compound C is formed only when atoms of elements A and B combine together. So new substances are formed only when pre-existing ones combine in nature. New things cannot be made from nothing. The input for any matter that's formed is always the matter that already exists. Now this was the first law. Do you remember the second law? Yes, it was the law of constant proportions. But for knowing this, we concluded the previous video by understanding the first law of chemical combination. Now we need to take a look at the second law, which is called the law of constant proportions or the law of definite proportions. They're the same thing. The law was first put forth in the year 1797 by a French chemist called Joseph Proust, and hence is also referred to as the Proust's law. What does the law state? The law states that in a chemical substance, elements are always in a fixed proportion by mass. Now what does this mean? It's not straightforward to comprehend this statement at the first glance. Remember the example of chocolate milk that we considered while studying the first law? In that example, we saw that when we have to make double or triple the amount of chocolate milk, all we have to do is use the proportionate amount of the individual ingredients. Wait, did I say proportionate amount? What does that mean? It means that when we have to make the drink for 10 people instead of 5, we just have to take double the amount of ingredients, right? Anything more or less would result in change of taste. Similarly, in any chemical substance, the elements present are always in a fixed proportion by mass. So let us take the example of elements A and B giving us the compound C. Now, if we observe just one single unit of the compound C, then we can notice that it has 2 atoms of element A and 3 atoms of element B. Is it true for all the units making up the compound C? Yes, it means that even if one atom from any of these units is removed or added, then it can no longer be called compound C. It will change to something different. So if the number of atoms is fixed, then the mass will also be constant, right? Absolutely. The best example to study this is that of ammonia. If we decompose ammonia by any means, say by extreme heat or some other way, then we get the nitrogen and hydrogen atoms in the same proportions by mass. So let's say we take 17 grams of ammonia. If we decompose it, then we will get 14 grams of nitrogen and 3 grams of hydrogen. So can we say nitrogen and hydrogen are present in ammonia in a constant ratio of 14:3? Even if we decompose ammonia in any other way, the ratio of nitrogen to hydrogen in the compound will always be the same, 14:3. Yes, and this is seen in all the compounds existing naturally or even artificially. But when these laws were put forth in the form of theories, proving them was quite a concern. All these explanations that we know now are due to experiments performed for many decades. Several scientists came up with many experiments and explanations. Among all, a notable theory by the name Dalton's atomic theory surfaced as an answer to many of these questions. The theory was put forth by the English chemist and physicist John Dalton.
So last class I think you have watched the introduction video of chapter atoms and molecule, right? So what it is telling, so we know that everything in the universe is made up of one atom, right? So who has first given, like they were which one, Maharishi Kannada, right? So he was the one who first able to recognize that atoms, that is the atom is the indivisible particle, and later many scientists came and they have done the researches regarding this, right? So the idea of divisibility of matter was considered long back in India around 500 BC. An Indian philosopher, that is Maharishi Kannada, postulated that if we go on dividing the matter, we shall get a smaller and smaller particle. That is the matter. When we know matter is are existed in three states. What are the three states? Solid, liquid, and gas, right? So and when we are dividing these things, right, now in at present they have divided, they have finded that there are 5 states of matter that already I have told you in the starting of the class, right, last chapter. So in this, okay, in this what it is telling, that is the matter, when we divide any matter, it can be a solid state, it can be in a liquid state, or it can be in a gaseous state. When we are dividing this matter into smaller and smaller particle, there it reaches a smaller indivisible particle. Okay, a time will come, we shall come across the smallest particle beyond which further division will not be possible. He named this particle as Paramanu. That is Maharishi, right? He named that particle as what? Paramanu. And another Indian philosopher, that is Pakuta Katayama. Pakuta Katayama. What he has done? He also studied more about this matter. Okay, and around the same era, another ancient Greek philosopher, that is Democritus and Leucippus, so they also have come across these, what is this Paramanu, then they have told this stage will come when a particles obtained cannot be further divided. Democritus called this indivisible particle as atoms, or what he called it as atoms. That is, what is that? That is, it is an indivisible. All these are all this was based on the philosophical consideration and not much on the experimental work. Okay, they were not able to do any experiments and find, but only by the philosophical consideration they were telling this. Okay, then what has happened, this was still up to which century? 18th century this was going on. Okay, but at the end of the 18th century, another scientist recognized the difference between the elements and a compound. That means after till 18th century they told this is a smaller indivisible particle, that is Democritus, he gave the name as atoms. Okay, then later in the end of the 18th century, 18th century means like 18, it will start with 18, right? So that, okay, so that time what they, some scientists, they have told element is different, compound is different. Element means what we know, it is made up of same atoms, right? But compound means one or more elements will combine and form a compound. Okay, that are the two difference. So but the end of the 18th century, a scientist came, they have recognized that, so there is a difference between an element and a compound. Okay, so becomes interested in finding out how and why the elements combine and what happened when they combine. So, okay, so when they started recognizing that is element is different, compound is different, so then they how they are forming the compound. So when they can able to form the compound, so simply all the elements will come and attach and will form a compound. So like that many questions arises, okay, in the which time, in the end of 18th century. So Anthony Lavoisier, what he has done, he laid a foundation of chemical science by establishing two important laws, that is a chemical combination law. Okay, so he next now they have started doing experimental works. Okay, before they were not doing the experimental works, but now they have started doing the experimental works. Okay, so the following two laws, there are two main laws are there: law of constant proportion and law of conservation of mass. Okay, law of constant proportion and law of conservation of mass. So this actually they want to know, right, how the compound is forming, how an element is forming, so how what is the basic of these. So for that they experimentally they named it as what, which law? Law of chemical combination. So if an element and a compound, or if a compound have to form, there should be some chemical reactions should take place. Okay, so simply no compounds will be forming, so there is a chemical reaction should take place. If a chemical reaction is taking place, they are combining. Okay, they are combining means joining. So how this is happening? So there is a major law called what? A chemical law of chemical combination. Okay, laws of chemical combination. So what are the two laws of chemical combination means? It is telling about the law of conservation of mass and law of constant proportion. So we will be seeing one first about the law of conservation of the mass. Okay, is there a change in the mass when, for example, now when we are taking, okay, now when we are adding, like which one, when we are taking of one molecule, see there is a, they have given an example, see the activity, is there any change in the mass when a chemical changes, that is a chemical reaction takes place. For example, what we are telling, take one following sets, like anything like a copper sulfate. Okay, that is two compounds. One is, one side we can take copper sulfate, or we can take sodium carbonate, or barium chloride, or sodium sulfate. This is a chemical reaction. So they have given anything we are taking. Okay, prepare separately 5% of solution of any one pair of substance listed under the X and Y. That means combining, the X substance is combining with Y substance, any one we can combine. We can combine with copper sulfate and sodium carbonate, or barium chloride with sodium sulfate, lead nitrate with the sodium chloride. Like this we are combining. Okay, take a little amount of sodium amount of the solution of Y in a conical flask, that is a flask which we are using for experiment. Okay, then and some solution of X and ignition tube. Okay, then hang the ignition tube in the flask and carefully see the solution do not get mixed. Put a cork on the flask. Okay, so what it is telling means, when we are taking some amount, like a little amount of which one, okay, that is what, if we are adding, we have explained using the matter in our surroundings, right? So if we are taken one glass of water, in that if you are adding 2 tablespoon of, like 1 glass of water and 2 tablespoon of sugar in it, whether before the we are adding the sugar into it, the mass or the weight of the water will change after adding the sugar? No, it will not change, it remains the same, right? So when a chemical reaction is taking place, okay, so before, that is, if we are adding, like if the same amount of, see here, weigh the flask with its contents carefully. Now uh, tilt and swill the flask so that the solution X and Y get mixed. Okay, first we are weighing it. Okay, flask, after mixing, what we are doing, we are weighing. Weighing means seeing the weight of it. Okay, then we are taking a which one, a glass rod or something, and we are swirling it. That means we are mixing it. Okay, then again weight it. What happens in the reaction flask? Do you think that the chemical reaction has taken place? Why should we put a cork on it, mouth of the flask? Does the mass of the flask and its contents change? That means we are putting a cork on this flask. That means we are closing it. Why? Because when this reaction is taking place, okay, when the reaction is taking place, wait, sometimes they can evolve in the form of a gas, right? So for that is why they are closing it. Okay, so this is a see in the picture, they have taken separate. Okay, so when we weigh it, whether the weight of the things are getting changed before reacting and after reacting, it remains the same, right? So that is what it is telling. Any substance, that is before reaction how much mass is there, after the reaction also it will be remains the same. Okay, see, if an element A is combining with an element B, okay, the element C will be formed. That is a reaction, chemical reaction. That is element A is combining and element A is combining with element B to give a product of element C. And the C will not have the property of element A or B. They will have a different property. Understanding? And the weight of the thing, the weight, that is mass, the total of the element A and B mass will be same that of the element C. Okay, so that is what is telling law of conservation of mass. We know conservation of mass is what? Mass can be neither be created nor be destroyed. So during a chemical reaction, when an element is reacting with another element, so there will be no loss of mass. So how much mass was there, that much mass will be there in the which one, after the reaction. Okay, so that is what it is telling, law of conservation of mass. Okay, next one is involving that law of constant proportion. Law of constant proportion, what it is telling means, like for example, we know the water formula. What is the water chemical formula? H2O, right? H2O is the water chemical formula. So what does it mean? Water is formed by the 2 molecule of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. Right. So what it is telling, law of constant proportion means, like when a chemical reaction is taking place between an element or a compound and an element, the reaction when it is taking place, they will be combining with a constant proportion. For example, now I can tell this water is formed by the 2 molecule of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. So the proportion is what? It is what is what? 2:1. Understanding? So this proportion will be same. You are getting it? See, in video they have shown it as 17 gram of ammonia. Ammonia is nothing but it is a compound formed by nitrogen and hydrogen. 17 grams of ammonia, that is gram we are taking. The weight of the ammonia is how much? It is of a 17 gram. Okay, so 17 gram of ammonia, when we are decomposing, when we are splitting that, okay, decomposing means if we are heating it, that will get separated. So that time we will be getting 14 gram of nitrogen and 3 gram of oxygen. So 14 plus 3 is how much? 17. So this is so ammonia is in a constant proportion of what? 14:3. So whenever a chemical reaction is taking place, the elements or the compound and the elements, they will be combining in a constant proportions. Okay, so that is what it is telling about. So law of constant proportion, what it is telling means, when, see, that is what, in a compound such as water, the ratio of the mass of the hydrogen to the mass of the oxygen is always 1:8. Okay, so what is this one? I told 2:1, right? So what is it? What it is telling, the hydrogen of the mass to the hydrogen of oxygen. Whatever the source of water, thus if 9 gram of water is decomposing, when we are decomposing 9 gram of water, so that time what we will be getting? We will get 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 grams. So actually I told water normal formula is what? H2O. But if we are taking a 8 grams of water, 8 grams of water if we are taking it, in that we will be getting 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 grams of water, oxygen. Grams. I am telling about weight. I told first about molecules. Okay, keep in your mind, molecule is different, weight is different. Okay, molecules are number of atoms in present in it, right? So molecules means like a 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. But when we are weighing the weight, that is 9 gram of water contain 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 grams of oxygen. Okay, similarly in ammonia, that is nitrogen and hydrogen are always present in the ratio of what? 14:3. That is 17 gram of ammonia, we can obtain 14 gram of nitrogen and 3 gram of hydrogen. Okay, this leads to the law of constant proportion, which is also known as law of definite proportion. So one more name for law of constant proportion. What is that? Law of definite proportion. So this was stated by Proust. Okay, he was a scientist. In a chemical substance, so underline, that is, in a chemical substance the elements are always present in a definite proportion by the mass. Okay, so what the law of constant proportion is telling? In every chemical substance, the elements, okay, or the compound, they will be present in a particular proportion. That means, for example, 9 gram of water contain 1:8 ratio, right? And if 17 grams of nitrogen contain 14:3. So that ratio will be same for all the elements. Okay, now the next problem faced by the scientists was to give an appropriate explanation of these law. British chemist. Next, okay, now we came to know this is how the elements are reacting. Okay, now we come to know chemical combination law, right? Chemical combination law is mainly of two, that is law of conservation of mass and law of constant proportion. So now we came to know that is, before, when a chemical element is reacting, their mass will remain the same before the reaction and after the reaction. That is the law of conservation of mass. And next, what is the constant proportion? When they are combining, they will be having a constant ratio will be there. When an element or a compound or an element, they are combining to form a compound or a mixture, that time they will be having a constant ratio. That is what? Law of constant proportion. So next, regarding this, we want to get a clear understanding about an atom. Okay, so that we have already studied. So that was Dalton atomic theory, right? So that is regarding Dalton atomic theory. We will be seeing in the next class. Okay, already you people knows, right, what Dalton has told. That is a John Dalton. He was a British chemist. He was like, he told everyone, but until this time, what, at the end, until what, 18th century, what was there? The atom was like it is an, until this time is not 2020. Okay, some will hear like that. Until this time is not about 2020. I am telling about the now what the portion we are learning. That is, until the 18th century, what was that? Atom is an indivisible particle. Okay, atom is an indivisible particle. That means they told we cannot able to divide. So then after that, some questions arises. So that question, again they have studied more about the which one, atom. So that is, we will see that is John Dalton. He has given some theory or idea about the atom. That is which one? Atomic theory. We already know that, right? Atom is made up of very tiny particle. They are indivisible particle. So these are, okay, I am telling, until the time of John Dalton also, he was also telling what? It is an indivisible particle. Okay, until now not. Please, again and again I'm telling, some students were asking, ma'am, you told last time until now neutron was not discovered. When I'm telling like that, no, which portion I am teaching, that until that. Okay, don't think until 2020 it is not discovered, nothing like that. Okay, until where we are teaching now, we are teaching about which one? 18th century, right? So until that, what atom is called, it as what? Indivisible particle. Okay, so we will be learning about the John Dalton atomic theory in the next class. And one more thing, students, actually I told you I will be explaining you regarding the numerical sum of last class, right? Force, right? So please, actually I didn't. So we will be learning about the Dalton atomic theory in the tomorrow's class. And today you people can write the two laws and learn about these two laws. Okay, law of constant proportion and law of conservation of mass. And the numerical sums. I was telling about the numerical sums, right? So the numerical sums, if you have doubt, you can ask to me. I'll be explaining you. Okay, since I told I don't have the board facilities to explain for that, so better please go through that sums. If you have any doubts, you can ask to me. Okay, thank you, students. Today's homework, please learn the two laws of chemical combination. You should learn. Tomorrow we will be seeing about Dalton atomic theory. Okay, then